Hi, this is Craig, and welcome to another episode of Cruising Off Duty. If you've been following the channel, you know we're in the middle of a transatlantic sailing series, covering everything from the basics of provisioning to casting off and going out into the big blue Atlantic Ocean to do the 3,000 nautical mile passage from the Canary Islands to St. Lucia. In the last episode we saw dolphins for the second time, and this was by far the bigger pod, and it stayed for a long time. And in the earlier episodes, we have had some windy days where we really got this cat moving at up to 17 knots. But this episode wasn't one of them. This was by far the calmest we've had the entire trip, but we took advantage of it. For one thing, we needed to fix a god-awful squeak at the top of the mast, so Paul went to the top in this relatively calm day, and then it got so calm we couldn't even sail at all, so we decided what better opportunity than to go for a swim in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Oh yeah, and did I mention that in this episode we catch our first fish, a tuna, and we turn it into sushi. All that coming up in this episode of Cruising Off Duty.
Very loud noise.
So in case we're wondering how we get our wind estimates, Paul's going to start it off at our start point and then the end point and then do a download.
We're in predict wind and we're going to choose the little point where we want to start and end, and it'll therefore grab those coordinates to calculate a route. And then we press download and choose what we're going to get. We're going to do weather routing. We want a weather route, and download that. We'll take a GFS forecast and an EC forecast, the European model, and already it's dialing. Signal strength is 5, so we have lots of strong signal to the satellite.
And then there'll be little blue lines, I guess, that go across that show you how much...
Yeah, so this is only small, the weather route, but it has to ask the supercomputer at the predict wind headquarters to do the calculation. That takes a minute or so. And then it already has these two forecasts, and it'll just send them to us. And altogether there's about 60 kilobytes of information.
Which on a home internet would be really, really quick,
Yeah,
but
like
here is really, really slow.
And here it'll be probably 10 minutes, so.
Okay, so I'll pause it for now. Okay, so maybe 15 minutes later, we're done with the 3 downloads.
Yep, that's all good. So we can close this, and that gives us a map of our winds we're expecting. Why is it always low at the beginning? It's like we have one day with light winds. Then the winds are getting a bit stronger. We can look on the map. The GFS forecast shows 10 to 15 mainly the whole way in.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah?
Well, it's better than what we got now.
Except today.
It's
not awesome.
No, it's all relative.
So it shows us arriving on the 1st if what happens is supposed to happen, happens. And then we'll take a look at the less optimistic.
Have a quick tour of St. Lucia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all sort of agreeing if we head mainly directly there, it's pretty good to go. Amazing to get all this out of the satellite in just 10 minutes.
Yeah. So that's what we've been using this whole trip, right?
Yeah.
So this whole trip, we've done this every day at least once, right?
Yeah, every day we download the weather once, usually, and that's amazing to get such a fantastic update.
Yeah.
Looks like
Technology.
that's the win.
Okay. Paul is going up the mast to check out what this horrible creaking sound is.
Okay, so we're going to go up the mast using the bosun's chair to take a look and see if we can find the source of the bad squeak we have for the last day and a half. This is a pretty snazzy bosun's chair. It's got a nice area for keeping tools and stuff on the side, plus a big bag so you can carry extra stuff in. I've got some lubricant and some grease in case we can actually see what it is. If it's what we think it is, then maybe I can lubricate it and solve it. And if it isn't what we think it is, maybe we're at least eliminated our biggest worry that we're hurting the Spinnaker gear. So we've been having this squeak for a while, and we need to solve it if we want to keep running the Spinnaker.
Right. Okay, Paul is going to go up the mast because we can hear this god-awful creaking sound. And the only sail we have up is the Spinnaker, so we're pretty sure it's the block at the top of the mast that is holding up our Spinnaker that is creaking like crazy. I don't know if you can hear it over the rustling of the Spinnaker, which is over here behind me. Paul's decided he doesn't mind the spinnaker being up while he does this. It makes the boat a little more stable. We use the electric winch to pull him up slowly. Paul's at the second spreader. Every time we get above a spreader, he clips his safety harness thing around the mast. So worst case scenario, he can't fall more than a few feet. We only have one topping lift line to get him to the top. We don't have, usually trying to have two lines holding on to you, so if one breaks, you got the other one. So Paul just lubricated the block. A little bit of mist. Hopefully it doesn't come down on my lens. Yeah, our sound has definitely not gone away. So I don't think lubrication was the answer. Everybody's coming to the front of the boat.
Sundowner.
Sundowner's at the front of the boat.
Sundowner.
There's a beer can there, don't sit on it.
There we go.
So
This is gorgeous. Look at this.
So nice to have this forward cockpit up here, so we can.
Open up the hot tub. What a hoot.
I
What
know.
a fun day.
I don't think we'll have a green flash today.
Great day, everybody. No green flash
Oh, it's a
today.
fantastic
No,
day.
but it's Spinnaker and sunset.
We've got wind.
Pretty much the end of our 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift. Paul's doing his egg McBimbos. Looks like this. The bread in Spain is called bimbo bread, so that's why we call it an egg McBimbo. Yummy. Okay, wind has been an issue again. We've had to drop the spinnaker because there's just no wind. We were getting entangled, so we've dropped the sails and we're going to take this opportunity to swim for the very first time in the middle of the ocean.
That long.
Dave's looking around. No hammerhead sharks
I
around?
don't see a shark yet,
That's
but I think
awesome.
we're good.
Just try not to get tangled up
I've
in
looked in the Navy before, but we usually have sharpshooters standing by.
Yeah, exactly, with the sniper rifles.
Well, this would be about the same. We just yelled to get out. So.
Yeah. Get out!
But there's only one ladder.
Yeah.
You got a cue. You have to fight me for it.
He says it's warm, but that doesn't sound like it's that.
Because we're overheated.
I think it's just jumping.
Yeah. How is it? Is it current?
Oh, no, it's nice.
Looking for sharks?
Okay, I'm out here, I'm bait. See if anything shows up.
We're watching.
Oh my god.
No, we're just counting. If there's more than 5 people in here, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm not going scuba.
There you go.
Photographer, quick.
Before we see any large animals.
Before the friendly seals show up.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile, smile.
And my camera's going in the background, by the way.
Oh, is it? Okay.
This is going to shut us.
Yeah.
Catamaran.
Oh, this is heaven.
That's it. I can now say I swam in the middle, literally the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So where are we when we did this swim?
We're about 1,000 and some odd miles from the Caribbean islands and about 800 or so from French Guiana as the nearest land.
Is this the furthest you've ever been out in the ocean taking a swim?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah. Awesome. Bucket list ticked off. And some people don't want to get out.
We did a swim.
Not till I have to.
We did a swim
till
at the
you
equator, but that wasn't fun.
That was a repair swim.
That-
I don't know how far that
So
was.
Dan's still under the boat, and Alex is still swimming.
We were 600 miles when you did that.
This is the furthest. Needless to say, I've never swam anywhere this far out from anything in my entire life. You take your naps when you can, and of course, as soon as I go down below to take a nap, I miss out on our very first fish being caught. I got these pictures from the others, and this is the story I was told. The autopilot had to sail into this island of sargasso grass by accident, and Dan, who had the fishing line out, ran to get the fishing line in so it didn't get clogged with the grass. only to find out we had a tuna on our line. Although it doesn't appear to be the biggest tuna in the world, it still was quite the meal. First, though, we had to figure out how to kill it. We tried to be the humane people and pour some alcohol in its gills, and that's rum. I love rum, so this was a big waste. We poured lots of rum in its gills, and it just didn't seem to work. And here is how the fish looked when we were done cleaning it. Still doesn't look like a lot, but when you turn it into sushi and other things, it actually goes a long way. Since we'd gone through an island of sargasso grass, we figured we better throw a GoPro underneath the boat and make sure we're not dragging it all behind us. Surprisingly, we weren't carrying any of it. So this is the sushi from the tuna that Dan caught.
I like what we
That's
did.
1/4 of the tuna, and that's the other 3/4 of the tuna.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all the same caught tuna.
Same animal, yeah.
Prepared different ways.
It's amazing how
How
much
light
we got
it
of
looks when it's fried up.
Happy
Eh?
hour.
Happy hour.
Awesome.
It just gets better every day on this boat.
Every day. Every day's happy hour.
You guys, thank you so much. This is just.
Well, by the end of this trip, this was supposed
Oh,
to be
yeah.
gone.
That ain't happening. You're on the wrong boat.
Okay, I haven't really signed off yesterday, so this is the 14th day, I believe. This is Saturday, so we left on a Sunday, so this is the 14th day we've been sailing. That god-awful music you're hearing in the background is actually some sort of Caribbean wonky-tonky, honky-tonky country music, which I'm not a fan of, but nonetheless, keeps people in a party mood. We had a great day. The wind, of course, was light again, and we've got the Spinnaker going again, and we're barely moving again. But we're having great weather, and today, it got so calm, we actually took the sails down and drifted and actually got to swim for the first time. And we did it in the middle of the ocean. I think our latitude was 13 degrees, our longitude was 42 degrees. So check it out on a map. It was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, so cool. So I'll obviously probably put footage in here, but I'll just turn around, the sun's already gone down. And there is our Spinnaker that we've had on every day for like the last week. Spinnaker downwind sailing. So very light right now, so it's kind of just filling and collapsing and filling and collapsing, but at least we get to move with it. If we try and put anything else up that's a heavier sail, it just hangs like a curtain. So it's a Spinnaker or nothing. We don't have any fuel left to try and motor at night, so if we don't put the Spinnaker up, we are drifting at like 1 knot. So Spinnaker is better than nothing, and I'm glad they're doing it. Because I'm the only one who seems to care what time or what date we get to the other side, because I have a flight booked and I got to get back to work. All these other people are retired, so they don't seem to care what time we get there. But can't complain about the weather. We haven't even had one drip of rain, not even one. It's been blue skies like this every single day. Weather's been awesome. Anyways, that's it for the 14th day sign off. Talk to you later. Another awesome dinner together. Sorry for the strobing, I guess it's the LEDs. But, what are we eating here tonight?
Okay, this is a version of chicken a la king, but seafood version. So shrimp a la king tonight. It's basically a white sauce with lots of onions and peppers. Yummy things.
We've been eating really well.
Oh my God. And what did you say?
And the tuna you caught today.
This hasn't been a sailing experience, this is a culinary experience.
Oh, we're sailing right now under Spinnaker, drifting along at 4.5.
4 and a bit knots. All right,
Great
bon
day.
appetit.
Cheers.
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 Well, that gets us to the end of day 14 of this passage. It was beautiful. It may not be harrowing with high winds like I was kind of hoping we'd get, but we're getting to see dolphins and sunsets. Hopefully you liked the episode. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Also share the link with your friends or anybody you might think might find this interesting or educational. There's plenty more of the Transatlantic Sailing series coming up, so subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. In the next episode, we catch that mahi-mahi I've been telling you about, and in later episodes, we catch a dorado. Hard for me to say which one tastes better. They're both very tasty. If you were to ask which one was harder to bring in, Dave would certainly say the dorado since that's the one he caught. So stay tuned for that. I want to do a special thanks to the patrons to support the channel. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. If you enjoy the channel and want to support it as well, you can go to patreon.com/cruisingoffduty. Well, until next time, this is Craig signing off, wishing you safe cruising.